Asbury Park City Council. Councilmember Clayton. Here. Councilmember Kendall. Here. Councilmember Warner.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Quinn. Here. Mayor Moore.
Here.
We're going to go right into the presentations. The first item is a presentation by Christine Ballard, the city engineer at T&M Associates.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, I think that's better. Thank you. Okay, good evening. The first thing on the agenda for me is an update, or I guess for us to discuss the emergency generator at the wastewater treatment plant. I had sent you a letter, I guess in October, regarding the $292,000 grant that has been authorized for Asbury Park. And I did a feasibility study regarding the grant and where the generator could or should be located. We looked at a generator in the existing location, putting a generator on the roof, putting in a generator at grade west of the treatment plant building, and then putting the generator in the penthouse immediately above where it is today. Part of this analysis was to look and see if the cost could be within the grant amount. Technically, if you wanted to put a generator on the roof or at grade, you could do it within the $292,000 that's been allocated. However, I strongly recommend you don't go that route. My concern is public health and safety for the workers. If you think about when a generator is going to be operating, it's going to be operating during a storm event. And given the location of the treatment plant along the beach, I would hate to send workers, I would hate to be a worker who had to go outside on the roof or near the ocean to work on a generator during a storm. So my recommendation is that you put it in the penthouse area. There's enough space. I've taken a look at it. However, the cost will be the cost will be about $400,000 to do so. So before we move forward, I just wanted to update the council so you can make a decision whether you'd like to move forward with this project or not. Are there any questions on that?
No, the question I had before was, I've talked to you and Tony Nuccio, where was the money coming from, and we have the money because we did a $1.1 million bond for the roof, and the roof only came in at $800,000, so we have the money there. I see no options. I mean, we need, if we lose the sewer plant, we lose the city, and plus what we do to the environment and DEP fines and everything. Not to have a backup generator down there that works would be inexcusable. So if that's the best option, I'm for it.
Right. The next item is with regard to a treatment works application for 1101 Ocean Avenue. This project is required to submit a treatment works application to the DEP for the sewage flow that will ultimately go to the wastewater treatment plant. In order to submit that application, it has to be signed in multiple locations by the governing body and by the receiver of the sewage, which is also Asbury Park in this instance. What you need to do is authorize somebody from within the city to sign that application. It can be the city manager, it can be the city engineer, it could be the licensed operator, but you have to authorize someone to do that, and I have to include a copy of that resolution with the application.
So what is
the city manager, right?
Right, yeah. And that's just to, sorry, to say it again, what that?
Well, in an instance where there's a sewage authority, for instance, they'll do a blanket statement authorizing their executive director on a yearly basis to be able to sign these types of applications. You don't see that many treatment works applications, so you typically would do it on a case-by-case basis. So yes, it could be the city manager authorizing him to sign, it's a statement of consent, authorizing him to sign on behalf of the governing body that yes, the application is in order and that you have capacity to accept that additional flow.
This is scheduled for this evening for action as a resolution.
That's 397? 397? Yep.
The last item is with regard to a traffic signal warrant study on Asbury Avenue. Back in July, the city entered into a shared service agreement with Monmouth County Engineering, and Monmouth County Engineering has agreed to do traffic counts at all of the signalized intersections on Asbury Avenue. So ultimately, we can look at possibly eliminating some of those traffic signals. What I have before you is a proposal to do the engineering study that has to accompany it. There has to be an engineering warrant study before you can remove a signal. So there was a letter dated October 30th that I sent to the council.
Okay, the question I have is, I have no problem with the county doing the study, but then
Isn't the county who put the lights in how they are?
No.
Oh, okay.
So we have 7 lights, but we know we're going to keep the light at Asbury and Memorial. We know we're going to keep the light at Asbury and Ridge, and we know we're going to probably keep the light at Asbury Church and Pine Street. So that's my guess. Those 3 are like untouchable, especially Asbury and Memorial, where the county put it in and paid the $750,000 with an agreement for us to maintain it. And they're the busiest 3 intersections. Some of them might be able, but then if we reduce the amount to be looked at, can we reduce your fee?
Absolutely.
Okay. So there's 6.
So you'd like to look at Asbury Avenue and Prospect, Comstock Street, and Langford Street. So we'll reduce it down to just those 3 intersections.
They would be, yeah, and personally, I don't think Prospect can be removed, but I think that one should be looked at as far as a study. But I don't think anybody, Kevin, you do calls, memorials, and we can't do away with that. I think Ridge is very important as far as people getting in that town, and the one by the church and everything. There's so many different roads there. To eliminate that, it would just be mass confusion, just because it's not a true bisection. There's
right, it's like a 5-way.
So those 3 definitely should be eliminated in any study done by you,
okay,
to reduce the cost. Thank you.
Okay. And then I believe you wanted a brief update regarding the boardwalk lighting project?
Yeah, real brief, because we've gotten some good feedback from you recently.
Sure. So the project is getting going. At this point, the contractor has ordered some of his materials, conduit. We're expected to be delivered within the next 2 weeks. What we are looking to resolve, and I think we're getting it resolved with Madison Marquette and ISAR, is a temporary staging area for the materials near the boardwalk. I think we've kind of honed in that maybe the 6th Avenue site would work for that. So things are moving along. The contractor is assuring me he'll be done by Memorial Day, and I will stay on top of him every month along the way.
Okay, and we'd like it to be done before Memorial Day, so
yes,
anything to make it go quicker, anything we can do to make it go quicker. And one of the emails was as far as storage, and if they have to fence off part of the boardwalk and store stuff on the boardwalk, if we can't get permission from somebody else to use their land, we're open to that.
Okay, that's a good suggestion. I'll pass that along.
Right, and that's been done by other contractors, so if that makes it go faster, that's no problem.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Next item is review and follow-up regarding any issues addressed at the work session of Monday, November 9th.
Okay, matters that were brought up by city council members. It was requested that a picture of the marquee sign to be installed on the House of Independence 500 block of Cookman Avenue be provided. A copy of the plans have been provided to the city clerk and are attached to the resolution in consideration at this evening's meeting. Item number 2 there was a concern expressed that unused city surplus vehicles were still stored behind Boston Way. That is also on the agenda for tonight to adopt a resolution enabling each department that has city property there to dispose of that as soon as possible after the resolution is approved. Item number 3, Deputy Police Chief Salerno is working on drafting a policy as requested by the council members for the acquisition of surplus military equipment. That's the LISO program, so that's in progress. Item number 4, as follow-up to a resident's complaint about out-of-state license plates on vehicles throughout the city, council requested information regarding the length of time a vehicle can remain with out-of-state license plates. Deputy Chief Salerno informed us that new residents are required to change their operator's license within 10 days, and vehicle registrations must be changed within 30 days. However, if an individual has multiple state residences, he or she must declare one address as the primary residence, and the plates must match. Items brought up by the public. There was concern expressed about quality of life offenses being committed in the light industrial area of Langford Street. Deputy Chief Salerno informs that he met with the business owner and that foot patrols are being initiated from Main Street to Comstock Street and Asbury Avenue to First Avenue and along Langford Street. There was also an item brought up by the public about the ability to do online payments for taxes, property taxes, and sewer fees. The Finance Department reports that that system, called the WIP system, that's an acronym, WIPP, will be up and running in January. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Any matters from the city council?
I'll start. I have 3 specific matters. The first one is just by way of an update. As many of you know, we got 2 appraisals done for the Bradley Cove track. I made a call to Ryan Shripko of iStar and asked him if he would accept that number. There was no response to that. He said he would need to look at the appraisals. We forwarded him the appraisals directly after that. So that's going on a couple of weeks, and I'm just waiting for his response. His public position has always been that he would accept fair market value, so I was surprised that there wasn't a response right away, but hopefully we'll get a response from him shortly. The second point is also related to iStar and infrastructure, and I've asked and been told by Brian, as well as asked the city manager and the new city manager, I'm going to ask as well, for a record sheet of infrastructure that's gone in the ground and who's paying for that infrastructure. And I was trying to think about a way to explain how the infrastructure works. And I kind of thought it's kind of like a credit card. iStar is like a credit card for the city. The analogy isn't perfect, but what it means is we have $50 million worth of credit, and iStar is putting the money up front, and down the road, our taxpayers over the next 30 years will be making monthly payments to pay off that credit card bill. So really, iStar is acting like a big credit card for the city, right? They're not paying for the infrastructure, they're just putting the money up front, and then for the next 30 years, we're paying them back.
Well, the residents, I mean, just to be clear, the residents who live in those buildings.
The residents who live in those buildings are paid it back, exactly. And my opinion, which I think many of you know, is that that was not what the agreement necessarily says. I'm not saying that I'm completely against that idea, like the credit card analogy, but I would hope that at least we would get some points or some frequent flyer miles or something with all of that money that we're paying back to them. And by that, I'm going to come to my third point, which is, I know that we're working on workforce development, and Dwayne is always talking about workforce development, and I think it's important. But everyone knows that to solve the problems in our community, I think that you have to go like way further back in an individual's life than when they end up looking for a job. Like it's great to do that, and you should do that, but you're a little bit late to the game at that point. So for me, the 2 things that are really important are like intervention of people who are like in the process of getting into trouble, to try to intervene there. And even more important than that, as a new parent, I know it's hard. I was 40 years old, I have a wonderful wife, I have a job, I have a family that supports me. It's still really hard to be a parent, to be a new parent. So the things that we need in our community, from my position, we need some parental help, parental trainings, not because we don't know how to be parents, just because it's hard and we all need support. And that's where I would say if we're going to get some frequent flyer miles or some points for this $50 million that the future taxpayers are paying, that's where I would like to see some of the money and some of the benefits of that development pushed in that direction for our city. So those are my three. Thank you.
Just following up, excuse me, just following up again on workforce development. The city has on its website jobs that are changing on a daily basis. We constantly update it, and these are not city jobs. These are jobs from other employers, and they range from unskilled labor to very skilled. But one of the things that I saw today that may be of interest to the public is on Monday, November 16th, at the Neptune Career Center on Taylor Avenue, there is going to be a workshop for apprenticeships, and it's from 1:30 to 2:30. So anybody that wants to have information, I have it, plus it is on our website. And secondly, just again, the Chamber of Commerce and the Quality of Life Committee, Pride in the Park, is sponsoring a holiday window decorating contest. So anybody who is interested, either on the business side or residential side, the information is on the table. All you need to do is register, and there will be a judging. The dates are on the form, and the winners will be announced, and gifts will be given out. Thank you.
Yesterday, as we all know, was Veterans Day, and I'd like to take this time to thank the VFW, and there's a few other groups that was involved, and the mayor, councilwoman, and myself attended, and it was a beautiful affair. We have a police officer Officer Love, and we have a fireman, what's his name? Quigley. Well-deserving of their awards. So they also honored them yesterday. It was a very outstanding show. This last council meeting, it was a little eruption, and as you know, we up here are policymakers and we're professional first. And I personally raised my voice, got a little bit upset, and if I offended anyone, I'm man enough to apologize to if I offended you. But when I got home, I thought about one thing, what my parents always used to say. Your name is very important. My last name is Kendall. Wear that with class. Sometimes you have to humble yourself. So what I did was, if I ever get upset again and you see me with a little towel biting on it, you know that I'm trying to calm down. All right, thank you. Oh, I also wanted to thank you guys, and I want to apologize to you, because we talk about class. And a lot of times, we all have our little personal egos, and sometimes we try hard not to get upset. But we're just humans. And we don't really mean to hurt no one out there, because you people are very important to us. And we learn from you also. And we do thank you for your comments. Thank you.
I did mine Monday. I did a lot of these on Monday, but I'll repeat them again. Last Thursday, APTV had a volunteer recruitment. We got a whole bunch of volunteers out and are looking, one, for more volunteers, but two, to beef up our programming and start doing, continue to do more programs throughout the city, on top of what we're already doing, which is, programs in the high school. We're going to do a volunteer recruitment with the high school in the next couple of weeks, where we're going to show them the ins and outs of working the camera, editing, interviewing, all of that kind of stuff, and we're hoping to pick up a few volunteers from the high school. So that's just an FYI. The 5-year tax abatements are oftentimes a lively discussion. They certainly were on the last one. And as a result of that discussion, a group of city employees and myself, professionals, got in a room to talk about the best way to deal with workforce development with the 5-year tax abatements, which I think everybody in this room knows that workforce development is a priority for us. So what we decided to do was tweak the language in the 5-year tax abatements, and quite frankly, the pilots, requesting narratives on what kind of, narratives on what developers are going to do to start doing workforce development. And if they're not going to meet the requirements of workforce development, that they come and provide us with a report as to why they can't. And the theory behind that would be, let's make it harder for them not to do workforce development than to do it. Because what happens now is, if quotas aren't met, there is no measure to that. So the idea would be to, if you're not meeting whatever quota that is in the document, that you have to come back and kind of explain to us why. So that's your 5-year tax abatement update. And I think I speak for all of us when I'm giving our heartfelt apologies to Cassie Jones, who was a victim of violence in the last couple of weeks in Asbury Park, and our hearts go out to her and her family. That's it.
Thank you. I have nothing.
Matters by the city manager? Matters by the city attorney?
And I have nothing at this time either.
Motion to adjourn the workshop session?
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
In 3 minutes, we're going to start, so don't everybody disappear far. Far?
All right, we're going to call the regular meeting back to order. I'm going to start off, if everybody could please rise for a silent prayer, a moment of reflection, please. Flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As to comply with the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in the Coaster in the following manner. The annual notice was forwarded to the Asbury Park Press, the Coaster, and the Star Ledger on January 2nd, 2015, and posted on the bulletin board the same date. All notices are on file with the city clerk. The next item is a proclamation recognizing Shiloh Community Fellowship Ministries. Okay. Councilmember Clayton.
Thank you. Would the members please stand?
Hey, I'm going to take a picture.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, everybody.
Whereas Shiloh Community Fellowship Ministries has a long-standing history in Asbury Park, dating back to 1938, when it was founded by the late Reverend Henry Jeffers. And whereas several dedicated and loyal pastors have followed in Reverend Jeffers' steed, contributing to establishing Shiloh as a pillar in the community. And whereas, under the leadership and guidance of the late Elder Feldman Miller, the new and current edifice at 142 DeWitt Avenue was dedicated as Shiloh United Holy Church during his 19th year of service on May 22nd, 2004. And whereas Shiloh has been and continues to strive to be a beacon of light in the community under the leadership of Elder Mark E. White, Sr., by endeavoring to meet everyone they engage at their point of need through diverse outreach efforts, programs, and activities. Now therefore be it resolved that the Mayor and City Council of Asbury Park acknowledge Elder Mark E. White Sr. and Shiloh Community Fellowship Ministries for their many years of dedicated service to the community. Be it furthermore resolved that the mayor and city council congratulate Shiloh Community Fellowship Ministries on celebrating its 80th anniversary and mortgage elimination.
We just want to say thank you very much, and Shiloh's been around for quite some time, and we're in the community doing community work, and we're adding some more things this year. Next weekend, we'll be having our annual Thanksgiving dinner, free to the community. So you're welcome to come out. It's for everyone, really. But we invite the homeless and those that may not have family. So we're just trying to be not just a church, but we're trying to do things what God has called us to do in the community. So we thank you for this, and we promise you we will always be available to do whatever is necessary to help the council, to help the city, township out whatever way we can. Thank you.
Yeah.